Hi there, and welcome to the Cotswold Explorer. I'm Robin Shuckburgh, and you find me today in the beautiful gardens in Bampton, where a sculpture exhibition is taking place in aid of the Heartstone Fund. This is a fund set up to commemorate Lendon Scantlebury, who was a Bajan sculptor, very well known in this part of the world, who died in January of this year. He had planned this exhibition before he died, and so his partner and his team around him decided to continue with it, and here we are today. When Lendon was alive, he supported every year a young artist straight out of college and took them to the stage where they were sufficiently confident that they might at least consider the possibility of becoming professional artists. This was such a worthwhile idea that the trust was set up in order to continue the concept. The exhibition is held in two places, in these wonderful gardens in Bridge Street in Bampton and in the gallery of West Ox Arts, which is in the town hall in the centre of the village. We're about to go into the gallery to talk to Dawn Benson, who was Lendon's partner and is very much behind the continuation of his project. Let's go and find her. Dawn, it's very nice to meet you, and thank you for giving us a bit of your time on this busy day.
That's okay.
I'm fascinated to hear a little bit about the whole business of this fund, and tell me about Lendon, a little bit about him and where he comes from.
Well, Lendon was born in Barbados. His mother left when he was very small, and he was brought up by his grandmother.
Right.
Then he and his older brother came to England when they were 10 and 11, and from tiny, he always was interested in art, and he worked with an artist when he was 17. He worked in foundries from the age of 18, working with all the great sculptors that we all know of, and he loved that. He was passionate about art, painting, sculpture, and more recently he's been working on curating exhibitions all over, certainly Buckinghamshire and Oxfordshire, and some of them very big. A 50-acre site we did in Ardington 3 years ago.
And this was for not only his own work, but loads of other people's work.
Yes, so he would always be producing an exhibition which had 30, 40, 50 sculptors, and if we had space for paintings as well, we would have paintings. So at Ardington, I think we had 350 indoor pieces of work as well as all the outdoor work.
Right, I understand. And then the tragedy arrived, and he died at the beginning of this year.
So he died in January. We had no warning. We didn't know he was ill. He just felt unwell on the 31st of December, and we weren't given any information until the night before he died, actually.
It must have been an appalling moment for everybody.
Yes,
and
it was a complete
terrible
shock.
thing. It says an enormous amount for him that the momentum of all this work that he was doing is now continuing with all your help. I mean, this is the way it's going, isn't it?
Well, he worked with Mariel Lewis doing these exhibitions, and Mariel and I both thought, we can't just cut this off. He had this exhibition in mind, and he had spoken to the people at Bampton about doing it, and he had a couple of other exhibitions. We're doing the two smaller ones because that we felt was enough for us this year. Next year we're going to do the bigger one at Bothy Vineyard. But we're doing this, and the Heartstone Fund was set up to raise money for to help young artists, because each year he would work with a young artist. This year he worked with last year he worked with Tom Costa, and he has had 5 artists that he's worked with. And what we wanted to do was continue that. I mean, he actually shot a video in September saying he'd like to have an academy. I think that's too big for me at the moment, but we can do this. We can do this for him, and it's important.
It's a wonderful thing to continue, because the concept of actually helping young artists deal with the process of actually becoming artists rather than just amateurs is important.
I think it's important, and it's. I mean, he's taking them really young. He's had a 13-year-old, a 15-year-old, 2 16-year-olds, and 17-year-old, and it's about showing them what real artists do, rather than what you get to see at school and where you're kind of put into a bit of a box. He wanted them to be free to do whatever they wanted, and he would find a way to do that.
It's true that I saw his his last, I presume,
Tom Costa.
Tom's video where he described what the importance of not being restricted by these classic education,
Yes,
art education
yes.
school. It's a very important message, I must admit. Well, this is very exciting. This exhibition is divided into two sections, I think.
That's right, yes.
There's this one in Wower's
West Ox
exhibition
Gallery.
thing in the town hall, which is all around us, and we'll obviously have a look at some of the work.
Panorama.
You have your own work here.
I do,
you like?
yes. I've got some work as well.
Yeah. Have you been a sculptor all your life?
No, I was a graphic designer for 18 years.
Oh, were you? Right.
And then I was sculpting when things in my life went a bit pear-shaped, and sold work straight away, and I've been sculpting for, I don't know, 17, 18 years, maybe.
Well, to those of us who
painting.
lived in this part of the world, your work is very familiar because we've all seen
In galleries,
around.
yes.
I
I exhibit in galleries,
which is very good. Well, Dawn, I'm grateful to you for your time. We're going to go around the exhibition and have a look at things. And we'll go down to the gardens and have a look down there.
Thank you so much.
And well, it's an absolute
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Now, just to remind me how long you're open for this
We're open. Well, we opened on the 3rd of June. We're open until the 25th of June, which is when there are Bampton Hidden Gardens as well in the afternoon. We are open Tuesdays to Saturdays from 11:30 to 4:30, and on Sundays from 2 to 4. I think Open Gardens might be open a little bit earlier than 2, but I'm not sure.
Yes, I think it probably is a little bit. But
that's basically,
the thing. And then you're saying that the next of your exhibitions will be at the Vineyard, at the Bothy Vineyard.
No, that's next year. What we've got this year, we've got a weekend in the Greyhound pub in Letcombe Regis, just a tiny little thing, because they asked us to do it, and we said, why not? Just a few people. But then we've got another exhibition from July the 14th until the 23rd of July at Lambourne for the Riding for the Disabled. So we're raising money for Riding for the Disabled and for the Heartstone Fund.
Right.
And the Heartstone Fund is what we have called this fund for Lendon.
Absolutely. No, that we're clear. And Dawn, thank you so much. It's been extremely good to meet you. And we'll go and have a look at the rest of the exhibition.
Thank you so much.
Nice
Bye-bye.
to see you. Thank you. When I got to meet Stuart Roper, one of the artists involved in this extraordinary exhibition, and Stuart, it's nice of you to agree to talk to us. I'm very kind of you. I'd like really just, first of all, to find out how the relationship between the artists and the Heartstone Fund works. I mean, you are an old friend of Lendon's, I think.
Indeed, yes. No, Dawn, Lendon and I have exhibited on many occasions, and we've also been close friends for many, many years. And so I had to be involved in this. I couldn't not be.
Yes, it's wonderful that. So there is a group, therefore, of artists like-minded.
There are. The three of us worked particularly closely some years ago, and we became, as I say, very close friends. I also admired the work that Lendon was doing with young artists. I think that was a very noble activity of his, because I think most of us artists are quite selfish at heart, but Lendon wasn't.
Oddly enough, he himself was prone to admitting that fact, I seem to think. He used the word selfish as about it, and it is true in this rather lonely world you live in.
Yes, that's true, but I think that's what's so particularly important about the fund, is that it carries on the work that Lendon did in encouraging young artists. As a grumpy old man, I admire his ability to be patient and bring people on, which is what he did. And I remember a number of them, I think there were 5 or 6, that have gone from strength to strength, but under his guidance, but also under his enthusiasm.
Yes,
and I think that's the key.
It is the key.
Absolutely.
It's showing that it's possible and convincing the young that it is. I agree with you that it seems to me a marvellous side of all this. Now, tell me a little bit about your own work. You are standing in front of 3 of your paintings. You work in acrylic,
yes, that's right. As I was saying, I started my life 45 years ago, as an illustrator, and I still illustrate. And so I was taught in the traditional way of using gouache, and I used oils, and I used watercolour and pen and wash. But I've settled on acrylics primarily because I like the speed. I like to keep the energy going in the painting. Once you've lost that energy, like waiting for the oil to dry or whatever, then it's quite obvious. So for me, I like to just bash away really, really quickly. You make a mistake, you cover it over. That's why I've used acrylics.
Yes, and acrylics have improved in the modern age, haven't they?
Enormously. I mean, the early ones were appalling.
Yes.
They really were. But the new ones, and the top quality ones, well, I mean, I think David Hockney uses them, so that's good enough for me.
Indeed, yes. Although even some of his early paintings are already fading, and it's been a problem for them. I've got a couple of brilliant paintings I bought 20, 30 years ago in acrylic. that are suffering quite badly, it has to be said. But I know that's not the case with modern
No, that's
paints.
right, and that's why I'm comfortable using.
Yes, I'm sure you
One
are.
of the things that I always like to be using gouache is that it was very light fast.
Yes.
You didn't suddenly find that you're left with a kind of a blue painting.
No, exactly.
However, I mean, it's like all things, you have to look after them.
You need to be. Yes, of course you do. Absolutely. Well, Stuart, thank you very much indeed for giving me your time. I think this is a wonderful venture where we're going to go and visit the sculptures in the gardens now.
You'll enjoy that.
Meanwhile, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Nice to see you. I'm here now to talk to Muriel Lewis, who is responsible for administering this extraordinary exhibition, this exhibition that takes place in 2 separate venues in Bampton. Muriel, very nice to see you. Thank you for joining me. You've worked with Lendon before, I think. Is that
I
right?
have, yes. This is my 8th show. There's 7 previous with Lendon, and this is the first one without him, but working with Dawn.
Right.
So we're emulating Lendon's formula, if you like.
So
for
you're
an
one of
exhibition.
the core team that is taking on his idea and
Yes.
into the future, which we've
Yes.
already just heard about, and I mean it's an amazing project, I must say. This is nice to see you in Bampton, incidentally. But how's it been setting all this up?
It's been fantastic. I have to say that Angie and Jane and John have been the most terrific hosts in the garden. They've allowed us to run, not quite riot in their garden, but we've put things in, we've put stakes in the grass, and they've been marvellous. And to find such an exquisite venue. When Dawn and I first came to Bampton, we knew that Lendon had booked the gallery and wanted to do something in hidden gardens, but we didn't really know what shape it was going to take. And at that first meeting, we were umming and ahhing, how are we going to do it? And then we said to Angie, well, you've got a garden, let's have a pop down and see. And it was absolutely the perfect
Well, you
venue.
picked the perfect person. Angie's one of the greatest gardeners in the village, there's no doubt about that.
Absolutely,
it is incredibly
yes.
beautiful here. We've wandered around and taken some lovely shots here. How many pieces are there in this showing in the garden?
In the garden, there's 73.
Really?
And
Yes.
I can't remember quite how many there are in the gallery, but it's quite a lot.
You described, well, some of your colleagues have described this as one of your smaller exhibitions, but that seems like a pretty sizable...
It is one of the smaller ones. We've had
Yeah.
over 250 pieces
Have
in
you
some
really?
of the shows.
This
Yes.
is major administrative headache. This is something that is entirely in your plate, isn't it?
Well, I take I think the major share of the getting everything in, making sure the artists are providing me with the information that I need. Way before we started organising this in March.
Yes, I see.
Normally we would have started in January to do the shows for the summer. But yes, it is a bit of a headache. It's juggling water and herding cats some days.
That sounds like a fine description of artists in my experience.
Yeah,
Excellent. Well, look, it's extremely good of you to take your time out to have a chat with us. We've had a marvellous time walking around the exhibition. We hope that many people will come and visit. And you're on now for another few weeks, aren't you?
Yes, until the 25th of June,
Right.
and that coincides with Bampton Hidden Gardens
And
Day.
that was the link in the first place, was the Hidden Garden
It
Day.
was, yes.
And you're leading up to it. Well, I mean, I wish you the best of luck with it, I'm sure. And with a bit of luck, the wind and rain will stay away.
I hope
It
so,
was
yes.
pretty dramatic last night. And it
Yes,
seems to have survived.
we've had to restake a few things this morning and,
Yeah.
and find a few bits that had
That's-
blown away.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Very nice to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed for your time.
Lovely. Thank
Take
you.
care. See you soon. Well, we've had a wonderful time in these 2 exhibitions, one in the Town Hall of Bampton and one in these 2 wonderful gardens in Bridge Street. Please do come and visit. It's on for the rest of the month. We're filming on the 5th of June 2017, and it goes on for several weeks. If you want to see all the other stuff on our channel, please visit us. You can find us on Facebook, on the Cotswold Explorer, and of course on Twitter. And our website is thecotswoldexplorer.co.uk. We look forward to seeing you.